On this episode of What's in the Fridge, I have ribs, I also have potatoes, but it's not about what's in the fridge today, but I want to test out how different is going to be ribs air fryer compared to oven baked cooked. So let's do the rub. First I have smoked salt. I'm adding a quarter of teaspoon of smoked salt. It's new. I haven't really tried it yet, honestly. And then a half tablespoon of Old Bay seasoning, and then garlic. I'm adding 1.5 tablespoon of garlic. Ton of garlic, love garlic, and it's also gonna make the rub thicker. Smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon, and then mixing up all together. Nice. I think the Old Bay seasoning already has some salt in it, so I don't need to add more salt. But for my sauce, I'm using this Japanese barbecue sauce I got at Costco, but I think more stores are selling them now. You can find like a smaller ones at Walmart or Publix. I'm adding about half a cup of this. It's really liquidy compared to American barbecue sauce. So just mixing this all together, and I will let my ribs marinate in this. Now, if you don't cook with ribs very often, you may not know this, but there's a membrane on the bone side that you have to take off. If you leave it on, it will prevent the spices to going into the meat. So just find a little sticking out part on one of the edges of the bone and rip off the whole thing. It's also not pleasant to eat, so you gotta take this off just like that. Big pull, and that is off. And now I have a entrance for the spices. I also dabbed it off with a paper towel to make sure it's dry, and I'm cutting it in half because it doesn't fit in the air fryer. Then I will poke some entry holes into the meat parts because I want the spice to go inside, so the inside is also flavorful. And then with a brush, I like to use a silicone brush, it's just easier to wash. I'm adding it first into those holes in the middle and then all around my ribs. And this ribs is from Costco, so there's 3 big long layers, or maybe is it 2? Yeah, it's 2 ribs pieces, and it was about 30 some dollars. So I think it's a pretty good price, and I think it definitely can feed a family of 4. I made the whole entire thing. I made 1 piece in the air fryer and then the rest in the oven, and it will last for like next day. So air fryer first, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm setting the setting to 375 for half an hour and see how it's gonna be. And honestly, I liked it. It was good. However, I feel like the fat did not render down enough, but it did like cook on the top quite nicely, crispy. Maybe if I put it on lower heat for longer, but I mean, it's a good quick way to make this because the oven way is a lot longer. But then I cut into this and it was still a bit raw on some parts, on the chunkier parts. So I cut them up and then I put it back into the air fryer. And this way, all the sides, even the inside, got a little bit more crispier. So the air fryer is a good option, but I prefer it one after cutting it like this. And this is the result right here. Air fried ribs, pretty good, but I don't know, somehow I liked the oven option better. It was still juicy either way. So for the oven option, I'm putting potatoes on the bottom. I just cut up like quarters, and I'm adding Creole salt to it. There's some spice in this seasoning, but it's basically salt. And then here is my ribs, the remaining ribs. I'm gonna layer this on top so the potatoes underneath are also soaking in the flavor from the rib. And to this one, I'm also adding minced garlic on top, and just like a ton of minced garlic. The reason why I did not add minced garlic in the air fryer one is because it would have burned, and burnt garlic is quite nasty, so that is not a good idea for an air fryer. But in this one, we're gonna cover this. I had to use 2 foils covering it up, and I cooked it on 350 for 1 hour with the aluminum on top of it. And then I took it off. This is what it looks like. It looks pretty well done, but we need it to be crunchy. So then I cracked it up again for 30 minutes at like 380, and it was done. I prefer this one so much better. The fat is way more rendered down, and you'll see that the meat even pulled off from the bone, which is a good sign. And it was still juicy and full of flavors, and I think the potatoes were the star of this, but even the meat was so much better than the air fryer one. But both method works. It just depends on how much fat you like to keep on your ribs. I personally prefer the oven method.